It was the first time in 7 years that a Foreign Secretary had come to the Rock, and Philip Hammond's visit had been kept tightly under wraps. So effectively, in fact, that news of it hadn't leaked anywhere, not even in the Spanish media, elements of which notoriously failed to respect embargoes. At Wharf, Mr Hammond met the Governor and the Commander of British Forces, as well as police and customs chiefs. He spent a good 10 minutes chatting to crew members and was able to inspect the facilities of the Royal Navy's boat squadron. Asked about the failure to stop Spanish incursions into Gibraltar waters and the lack of progress in ensuring EU aviation measures applied to the Rock, Mr Hammond spoke of the political paralysis in Spain right now. He said he expected to make progress in both areas once a new government emerges in Madrid. The Foreign Secretary was more forceful when asked what he made of British newspapers' description of Gibraltar as a tax haven.
The government's view is that the government of Gibraltar has made good progress on this issue. We're very pleased with the progress that they've made. Chief Minister Picardo is being invited to London as an exemplar of how to move forward on these issues. So he's not in the dock. He's one of the good guys who's coming to share his experience and explain how progress can be made on these issues.
At No. 6 Convent Place, the Chief Minister and Mr Hammond gave a joint news conference. They emphasised that remaining in a reformed EU would ensure that both Gibraltar and the UK were stronger, safer and better off. You've emphasised, Foreign Secretary, the importance of everybody voting to stay in the European Union. The concerns of most people in Gibraltar, I think, are what happens if the vote goes against that and there is an actual Brexit. To what degree will the British government be committed to helping Gibraltar in whichever form is necessary? I noticed from your joint statement that you reaffirm the commitment to respecting and to upholding Gibraltar's sovereignty to remain British and so on, but there isn't a similar commitment to a financial support, if you like. We had in the 1960s, as you well know, the support and sustain policy during the years of the closed border. If there were to be a repeat of that, and there has been a lot of sabre rattling from Madrid that they might close the border if the UK votes to leave the EU, can we have a return of that if it comes to that?
Well, look, Britain's commitment to Gibraltar is absolute, it's unshakable, and it will endure whatever the decision in the referendum. But I have to say this, Britain's ability to protect Gibraltar's interests will be seriously impaired if we are no longer members of the European Union, if we are no longer sitting round the table in Brussels when the decisions are made. So I think we need to recognise that with the best will in the world, Britain will not be able to solve all the challenges that Gibraltar would face if there was an exit vote on June 23rd. We are focused right now on making the arguments for remaining in the European Union. That is what we're devoting our time to 24/7. And I am confident that by making those arguments clearly and dispassionately, appealing to people's sense of reason, their judgment, rather than just emotions, we will get the right result on June 23rd. And that's where I'm going to channel my energy between now and then.
So no support and sustain?
Well, our support and our commitment to Gibraltar is absolute. But what we're not going to do is get into contingency planning ahead of a vote which we expect to win. We expect the British people to vote to remain inside the European Union, and we don't think it would be useful or helpful at this stage to start contingency planning for a process that, even if it were triggered, would take 2 years to come to fruition. There'll be plenty of time to talk about that should the eventuality arise.
May I say, Stephen, that I think this is exactly the argument the Prime Minister is putting to the people of the United Kingdom. about why the United Kingdom might be diminished if there was a vote to leave the European Union. And we don't envisage that that is what is going to happen, certainly from the point of view of Gibraltar. We want everybody here to support the United Kingdom and Gibraltar remaining in the European Union. And the people of Gibraltar do not want to survive, even in the eventuality of a Brexit, on handouts. The people of Gibraltar want to make their own way in the world. And if we were to find ourselves in a situation where we had to go to the United Kingdom because of our economic sustainability not being possible in those circumstances, then those who might have listened to the arguments that they should leave the EU will have a lot to answer for. But Gibraltar won't be looking for support and sustain unless it's absolutely necessary. We don't want handouts.
In a statement, both sides recalled the UK's continued commitment to stand by Gibraltar. In particular, the commitment never to enter into arrangements under which the people of Gibraltar would pass under the sovereignty of another state against their wishes, nor enter into a process of sovereignty negotiations with which Gibraltar is not content.